And then,
Okay. Yeah, I don't have to necessarily look at the camera, I would be looking at you.
and
as
I'm
long
looking
as
at my
in here.
notes.
And you're looking at your notes.
Okay, so, ready? Hi Pam, how are you doing today?
Not so great.
Not so great. Could you expand on that?
Well, I've been having a bad couple of days. I had, I don't know, I've just been like staying in bed more, and a couple of mornings, like this morning for instance, I woke up crying, and then I really didn't want to get out of bed at all.
Okay. So this morning when you were laying in bed, you said you were crying. What were the thoughts what thoughts were you having before you started to cry?
Well, I started thinking about the fact that no one that I worked with has like called me or texted me. I worked at the same place basically for 25 years, and I thought I made friends. You know, you work in a place with people for so long, you see people every day, probably more than anybody else, and you know, my work life really became my social life, and no one has called me or reached out to me. And you know, I'm thinking, I'm 66 years old, and it's not like I'm going to go to the schoolyard and say, "Hi, my name is Pam, want to be my friend?" You know, that's not going to happen. So the chances are I'm not going to have any friends. I'm not going to be able to meet anybody new. And I really thought these people were my friends, and basically, I mean, no one has really called me and reached out to me or invite, you know, that kind of thing. I haven't really called and checked on me, really.
No, you said no one? No one, right? So you've been, when did you get fired?
Toward the end of May.
Towards the end of May, and this is August, right?
Right.
So that's 3 months?
Approximately, yeah.
So
about 3 months.
What you're saying is in the past 3 months, no one has called you, texted you, or reached out to you. Just think about that for a second.
Well, well, yeah. I mean, some people have have texted me. For instance, Rachel texted me and to see how I was and to see if I wanted to do anything. And Vera invited me out to dinner. As a matter of fact, for tomorrow night, I didn't respond yet. And, well, the other day, Janet called and asked me if I wanted to go to Atlantic City for, you know, with her next week for overnight. And I told her I couldn't go because, you know, my money is like really tight, not working. And she said it would be her treat. She would pay for everything. So I told her I would get back to her and let her know.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think. And like 2 weeks ago, Kathy called me and asked me, well, she texted me, not called. She texted me and asked me if I wanted to maybe go shopping with her.
Okay, so that's, I counted 4. I counted 4 people who reached out to you. So,
okay, 4.
Having said that, 4 people have reached out. So now, is there a way that you could go back to your original statement with this information? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back to your initial response of saying that you have no friends, no one's reached out to you. And it doesn't sound like there's any proof to that. It doesn't sound like there's anything that's going to support you saying that no one, because you yourself just disproved it. So I want you to go back to your original statement, and I want you to use this tool that we talked about of disputing, and I want you to say it again. I want you to restate it, and I want you to replace those negative, irrational thoughts with something more rational that makes sense with the information you just gave.
Okay, let me see. So, think about it differently.
Yeah, think about it
Okay.
differently.
So, some of the people
Okay.
that I thought would really be there for me
Okay.
and would reach out to me I haven't heard from at all.
Okay.
And some of the people, or most of the people, I will say that's true, because those 4 people that I mentioned are really in the group of like 5 or 6 people that I thought of as friends and not just work colleagues.
Okay.
So most of the people
Mm-hmm.
that I thought of as friends that I also happen to work with, they have reached out to me and called me. And some of the people that I thought would, haven't.
Okay. So, how do you feel now?
Okay, how do I feel? I know how I don't feel.
Okay.
I don't feel so hopeless. I don't feel
Okay.
like I'm so alone
Okay.
and isolated. I feel like, well, some of those people that I thought I can count on, I really can count on, which makes me feel a little better about myself. It makes me feel like, okay, so not everybody doesn't like you.
Mhm.
There are people who genuinely care about you. I definitely don't want to cry
Okay.
or go home and go back to bed.
Okay. So, do you see how that technique of replacing an irrational belief that's not supported with a rational belief that is supported can change your feelings and how you react to those feelings?
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that
Mhm.
if even just using that one thing,
Mhm.
because I do already feel better.
Okay. All right.
You know, I feel like, because before I got here, when I was driving here, I didn't really want to come, and I just wanted to go home and get back in bed.
Mhm.
And then I kind of just said to myself, as soon as I'm done with this session, I'm going home and going right back to bed.
Okay.
But now I actually don't want to go right back to bed. I don't want to get back in bed when I go home.
Okay. So what I want you to do for next session, I'm going to give you some homework again, and I want you to take note when you're having those negative self-defeating behaviors, or when you're having those negative self-defeating thoughts. I want you to stop, like what we learned,
Right.
and dispute them. And I want you to come up with an alternative thought that I want you to come up with an alternative thought to replace that initial irrational thought. And then I want you to take notes of your feelings and how maybe they've changed. And not only your feelings, how they've changed, but then how your behaviors change. So,
Oh, okay.
you want me to explain it again?
No, I got it. I got it. So, in other words, just tell me if this is right.
Okay.
So, if I'm laying in bed and I start thinking, oh, everybody hates me, nobody wants to be my friend, you want me to stop
Stop.
and kind of like say, is that really true?
Oh, right.
Don't you even have one friend, Pam? Like, you want me to kind of talk to myself?
Talk to yourself.
Like self-talk.
Yes.
And then you want me to say it differently, like, well, I have 4 friends
Right.
instead of 10, and 4 is still good.
For
That's still friends, it's not no one.
right, right, right.
And then you want me to see what I want to do. Like, how do I feel? Do I want to cry and stay in bed, or maybe do I want to get up and go out? Is that it? Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I
Okay.
mean, you don't have to go out and go run a marathon, but, you know, just get up, go to the kitchen, have something to eat. You know, smaller goals maybe would
Okay.
be good
Yeah,
to use
yeah, that
here.
will definitely work, because, I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Unless-
not ready to go running out of the house.
Right. I mean, unless you want to, please don't let me hold you back.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay. But I think, you know, we're on to something. I know, Pam, this is a good tool that you can use, and you could use the self-talk and dispute your own. Good job, Pam.
Thanks. Thank you. This was good. I found it very helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So, so next week, you do the homework,
Right.
and we'll review it, and I think that's great.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
Pam.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that was 1 minute short of 15 minutes. You just have to kind of edit